All right, good stuff there. Let's move on to the second semifinal, Friday, January 1st, 2021. Woo, woo. Ohio State at Benham Gym, 7.5-point underdog, over under 66.5 against Clemson. Look, we talked about Ohio State's potential struggles in the secondary ad nauseum this year. They lost 3 pros in the secondary. They really missed Jordan Fuller as that single high safety. I don't think their corners are anywhere as close to as good as they were last year. Obviously, when you're replacing pros, you're replacing a generational pass rusher like Chase Young as well, who's dominating the NFL in his rookie year. So the defense has questions that maybe Clemson can exploit. But from a pure numbers perspective, and I was very comfortable playing this game because I just know that I know the talent that is there. I know how well coached Ohio State is. They're getting more time now to work on some things. I know how great Justin Fields is and that offense. So I make this line like between 3.5 and 4. So I grabbed 7 and the hook right away. Big play for me. Now you have word that Tony Elliott is not going to be there for Clemson, which is, I'll let you speak to this more, but I think it's really important because one of the things that Clemson has had that Alabama hasn't had in the past few years is coordinator continuity. And for the first time in a while this year, they didn't have that, sort of. They lost one of their co-offensive coordinators to South Florida, but they still had Tony Elliott. Well, now they won't have either for this semifinal. And Dabo, he stays away from scheme and play calling stuff. So it's going to go down to the quarterback coach, I believe. It's been there for a while, but it's definitely a big change. Look, Clemson is the better team here, but and by the way, getting over the hook, getting 7 on the hook, if you're down 14 late and you need Fields and company to go down and get you a score to get in the back door, or you're down 10, you can get that here. But I think there's too much value in Ohio State to pass up on. Yeah, give me the Buckeyes. I think this line's inflated. What say you?
Yeah, the line is completely inflated. When Ohio State is without Chris Olave and Justin Fields has, to look at new targets, and he got picked off a couple times, that tends to burn in people's memory. And when Clemson makes Notre Dame look like they should be joining the MAC, that tends to burn an image in people's minds too. And so this number was and is shocking to me. It's something that I made, I think 3.5 or 4. So 7.5 to me is a gift. I've hit it twice. I hit it again today on the Action app after the notes about Tony Elliott. So, I mean, if you're looking at this game,
before you get to your game breakdown, you think that's a big deal, Elliott?
Oh, I think it's a monster deal. I think it's a monster deal that Tony Elliott is not calling this game. Let's take a look at the history here. Jeff Scott, Tony Elliott, co-coordinators. One in the booth, one in the field, both in the booth. That's all it's been since Chad Morris left to go to SMU. Is Tony Elliott and Jeff Scott. Now I know the quarterback is going to be making the play calling, right? And maybe he could do that on a script. But guess what? What's going to happen at halftime when you need to make adjustments? What's going to happen after 1 or 2 drives when Ohio State's got you figured out? It's not like Ohio State is not capable or has the same level of talent to be able to hang with you. And by the way, there's a precedent that's already been set here. Jeff Brom got COVID, couldn't coach Purdue. Brian Brom, his brother, never called a play in his life, assumed roles and called plays. Brom was not allowed to have a Zoom meeting, a phone call. He wasn't allowed to have any contact with the team during halftime to make any kind of adjustments whatsoever. So this quarterback coach, who's never called a play in his life, in a program where Tony Elliott and Jeff Scott have been in complete control forever, that's a problem, especially in the second half. So if you don't want to touch Ohio State until the second half, that's understandable. But that is a serious, serious issue. And I'm still shocked as you and I are recording. I mean, the news is only a couple hours old. But, I mean, this is a really big deal. Now, if you want to get
also live, if you get Clemson gets the ball first, scores a touchdown, it should be a high-scoring game. Then you can jump in on Ohio State too then.
Yeah, crazy note, though. Clemson was the champions of the world the last 5 or 6 years on middle 8. And this year they've been very pedestrian, vanilla, middle of the FBS. Very, Very strange, and I wonder how much of that is Jeff Scott or how much of that is Dabo. Interesting going on with the middle eight, that this is one of the years that they're not tops in the nation. Anyways, like I said, there's no
Middle eight, by the way, for those not familiar, last 4 of the first half, first 4 of the second half.
Yeah, and got to clarify that because I know I put that out on Twitter and people are like, what the hell are you talking about? The middle eight is really, to be honest with you, this is something I picked up from Belichick years ago. Belichick managed the clock all the time to make sure he had back-to-back possessions. Coin toss, sure, I'll give you the ball. And then as a live bettor, if you know you're getting 2 possessions in a row, it's a huge, huge deal for making a decision when you want to bet live. So middle eight is the point differential of the last 4 minutes of the second quarter, the first 4 minutes of the third quarter, and it can present a very nice opportunity for live betting. So middle eight's a really big deal and something that Clemson had mastered for years. And this year they're kind of running middle of the pack. As far as you break down this game, I mean, there's no love lost between these two teams. This is a true rivalry from
11th. Dabo ranked Ohio State 11th.
Yeah. Dabo, who did not like Urban Meyer whatsoever and shut him out of a college football playoff semifinal before, decided to rank Ohio State 11th in the coaches poll. Listen, there's a lot of talk about Ohio State, about do they deserve to be here? Did they play enough games? The one thing you're going to hear, you're not going to hear a slight on Ohio State as if they have the talent or if they don't have the players to beat. They absolutely have the pedigree and the talent to be in the college football playoff, but everybody's undermining all of that by saying, well, you just haven't played enough games. Well, I've seen enough games out of Texas A&M and know that they don't belong. Ohio State absolutely, from a success rate and explosiveness standpoint on the offensive side of the ball, has a completely legitimate statement to being here in this position. It's not their fault Michigan got COVID. It's not their fault Penn State sucks. It's not their fault. When you get past that, Dabo ranking them 11th is just something that Ryan Day has got, another thing that Ryan Day has got to deal with. And Ryan Day has been dealing with this whole Clemson bullshit for years. And you say, well, what are you talking about? Ryan Day was the OC at Boston College. And there was an interview that came out on Yahoo about Brett Venables stealing signs. And it's been a problem forever. That Brett Venables has a team of analysts that steal signs offensively. And what you'll notice about the Clemson defense is they all stand there and stare at Brett Venables. And they get and they stare at the DC. And he'll give some sort of signal and they'll line up and boom. Magically, Clemson knows exactly where the ball is going to go. Huge advantage for Clemson all these years. In the games where Clemson has struggled, you will notice that it's been because of up-tempo or sugar huddle. Now, if you're not familiar with what a sugar huddle is, it's, quarterback comes into the huddle, he calls a play, the center leaves the huddle, the guards and the tackles leave the huddle, the wide receivers then leave the huddle. It's like a cascaded event to get everybody out of the huddle and get them up to the line to kind of show a formation. That keeps Brett Venables guessing. And Ryan Day has been very clear that them stealing signs, they had to adjust for it last year in the Fiesta Bowl because everything was being stolen from them. So you're going to see a lot of sugar huddle out of Ohio State. You're going to see some up-tempo. You're going to see them change things up offensively so they can take advantage of the Clemson defense. And Ryan Day's got enough experience here with Brett Venables that I think he's going to be successful. And let's be honest, Ohio State had a 60% post-game win expectancy last year. I know it's different players, but that Fiesta Bowl turf was slippery as hell, and it benefited Clemson the whole way. And Justin Fields was right there to score the game-winning touchdown, and Clemson pulled it off. Different track, different team, different players, but Ryan Day is completely prepared to put up with Brett Venables in this game. So I think when you look at it, Ohio State is second in line yards. They're top 25 in defensive havoc. They have what it takes. I know those numbers came on a short schedule. I know they came up against a Big Ten, not even the best of the Big Ten teams, but they have what it takes to handle this offense, and they have what it takes to handle the defense. And I think that they're going to be highly successful here. And I think the other thing that we need to talk about is Trey Sermon. Now, how do you beat Clemson? I'll mention this in the article, but I'll tell you guys here now. But if you go and read on the Action Network for this playoff preview, the way to beat Clemson is to beat them in standard downs. They are 94th in defending standard downs explosiveness. Take a shot on first down. Take a shot on second down. It's when you will have your most success. Clemson will pound you in passing downs. They won't let you do anything. And I think Ryan Day is going to be able to go for the home run with Justin Fields. And if not, Trey Sermon, who just played the absolute game of his life against the Northwestern defense, 331 total yards, 17 avoided tackles in one game, 6.8 yards after contact. What Trey Sermon did against Northwestern is what I was bitching to Stuckey about back in the summer, that I don't think these running backs have what it takes to get Ohio State to the finish line. Completely done a 180 on that. I think Ohio State has the explosiveness. They're going to do it early. They're going to sugar huddle and up-tempo their way around Brett Venables. I personally think it's a coin flip game. Either team could win, and I think plus 7.5 is a gift.